Today's Gospel passage from Matthew 23 verses 23 to 26 is both powerful and deeply convicting. Jesus speaks to the Pharisees and religious leaders of his time, but his words echo across the centuries, addressing each of us even today. He says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give 1/10 of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin. But you have neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former." And then he continues, "You blind guides! You strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. Woe to you, hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean." What a striking message this is. Jesus is not condemning the act of giving offerings or following traditions. Those things have their place. But he is exposing the hypocrisy of those who put all their energy into outward appearances while their inner hearts are far from God. The Pharisees meticulously tithed even the smallest herbs, mint, dill, and cumin. Yet they ignored the weightier matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Jesus makes it clear that God cares deeply about our inner life, about the heart. Religious rituals mean nothing if they are not accompanied by love, compassion, honesty, and humility. The Pharisees looked clean and holy on the outside, but inside their hearts were filled with greed, pride, and selfishness. Jesus uses the powerful image of a cup that looks clean on the outside but is filthy on the inside. He tells them, and he tells us, that what really matters is cleansing the inside first. Only then will the outside truly reflect holiness. Now, how do we apply this teaching in our daily lives? First, we must ask ourselves, do I focus too much on looking good in front of others, whether in church, at work, or even online, while my inner heart is not aligned with God? It is easy to post inspirational verses on social media or to be seen doing acts of charity, but far more difficult to live with true humility, to forgive someone who hurt us, to practice kindness when no one is watching, or to give generously when there is no recognition. Jesus is calling us to integrity. He wants our inside to match our outside. He wants us to live in such a way that our private life reflects the same values as our public life. This means we cannot be satisfied with external religious activities alone, attending church, giving donations, or saying prayers with our lips. Instead, we must examine whether our hearts are filled with love, mercy, and faith. Justice is about treating others fairly, defending the oppressed, and standing up for what is right even when it costs us something. Mercy is about showing compassion, forgiveness, and tenderness, especially to those who do not deserve it. Faithfulness is about remaining true to God in every season, even when life is difficult. These are the things that matter most to God. We must also reflect on the way Jesus condemns straining out a gnat but swallowing a camel. This is a powerful image of misplaced priorities. Sometimes, we focus on small religious details or external practices but ignore the massive issues of injustice, pride, or unforgiveness in our own lives. For example, we might argue endlessly about church traditions or outward expressions of faith, yet fail to help the poor, comfort the suffering, or love our neighbors. Jesus tells us that this is like removing a tiny insect from your drink but swallowing a whole camel. In other words, it is absurd and meaningless. The call here is to real conversion of heart. It is about living authentically before God, not just appearing holy before people. This means we must begin by asking God to cleanse us from the inside out. Only He can purify our hearts, heal our wounds, and replace pride with humility, selfishness with love, and greed with generosity. One way to apply this in daily life is through prayerful self-examination. At the end of each day, we can pause and ask, did I show mercy today? Was I faithful to God in my thoughts, words, and actions? Did I treat others with justice and fairness? Or did I simply go through the motions of religion without allowing God's Spirit to transform my heart? We must also remember that Jesus is not rejecting outward acts of faith altogether. He says, "You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former." This means that practices like prayer, fasting, attending Mass, and giving tithes are good and important, but they must flow from a sincere heart. They should never become empty rituals or a way to show off our spirituality. Instead, they should be an overflow of the love and faith we have within us. In our modern world, this teaching is more relevant than ever. Many people are disillusioned with religion because they see hypocrisy. People who appear pious on Sunday but live in contradiction to the gospel during the week. Jesus is reminding us that true faith cannot be compartmentalized. It is not about appearances, but about authenticity. Our workplaces, our families, and our private thoughts must all reflect the same values we profess in church. As we meditate on Matthew 23 verses 23 to 26, let us take it as a personal invitation from Jesus to go deeper. Let us not be satisfied with surface-level Christianity. Instead, let us ask God to cleanse our hearts, renew our minds, and transform us from the inside out. When our hearts are pure, our actions will naturally follow, and then our outward witness will truly glorify God. In closing, remember this: God looks at the heart. He is not impressed by appearances, but by integrity, humility, and love. Let us strive, with His grace, to be clean both inside and out, living a life of justice, mercy, and faithfulness that pleases Him.